All right, well, welcome to Fired Up with Rad. I'm your host, Rad, and across from the table is Jason Van Kamp. Jason Van Kamp is United States Special Forces retired commander of the 10th Group, and I want to welcome you to Fired Up with Rad. So let's get fired up, Jason. What do you have to say?
Fired up with Radl. Fired up with Rad, man. I appreciate that. Just for clarification, I wasn't the group commander of 10th Group, but I did serve as a Special Forces detachment commander at 10th Group.
Okay, well, thanks for clearing that up.
Sorry,
for
man.
me.
I don't want people thinking this is the guy, but
So detachment commander, what is that?
So you've watched the old TV show The A-Team with Hannibal and B.A. Baracus in face.
Mr. T.
Mr. T. They're called the A-Team. In our community, it's Operational Detachment Alpha. So I commanded an A-Team in combat on 2 separate tours in the Middle East.
Wow, that's intense. Was that pretty intense?
It was a lot of fun, and it was very intense, and there were moments which were very, very difficult. We lost some guys, but it was an experience that I'll never forget. I'll never forget my brothers on the team, and I'll never forget what we were able to accomplish over there and then provide, to the people in Iraq.
Well, that's very sombering and sobering, and sorry for the loss of your teammates, and that's just the truth.
I appreciate you,
Right.
brother.
And
that's what we signed up for.
I understand that. And I have the fortunate pleasure to know Jason. I've worked with you on some projects with Warrior Rising. Warrior Rising is a nonprofit. Is
Yes,
that right?
sir. Yes, sir.
Organization that you are in the charge of. And do you want to talk about that and elaborate a little bit more on Warrior Rising? Let's get that out there.
Oh, hell yeah. We're very proud of Warrior Rising. It's a 501c3 nonprofit. It's a veteran service organization. And I'm the executive director. And I created this in 2015 along with 2 other founders. One is a gentleman named Joe Hilton, a great friend of mine. He's one of the smartest business guys I've ever met in my life. And then also Ryan Miller, who I went to West Point with. And he was a Ranger. He got blown up in Iraq, lost his leg. He went to Harvard Business School, and he started a few businesses in the San Francisco Bay Area, and very successful. So the 3 of us, we started Warrior Rising together.
And so I know that you just mentioned West Point together. And something that I was going to bring up, and I'll bring up now because it's a good segue,
Sure.
is you played football for West Point. Now, I love West Point. That's my favorite football team because of the patches that you guys wear on your uniform. And I'm sitting across from a dude who wore that uniform on the football field.
I did. I played 95 to 97, and then I went on a 2-year Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saint mission to Russia, and then I came back and finished 2 years and graduated in 2001.
And commissioned as a lieutenant?
Second lieutenant. Right.
Okay, and then your original job in the Army, which is a military occupation specialty, I believe. What was your original MOS as going from West Point to the military? What were you doing?
So at the time, a lot of the Army football players went field artillery. It just seemed like that was the community that the Army football players went to. And so I went field artillery. So I was a 13 Alpha, an officer, second lieutenant in the artillery. And my first duty station was Fort Sill, Oklahoma, where I went to the basic course there. And that's when 9/11 hit, just a few months after I graduated from West Point.
That's fresh, huh? That was like real to you right there. So now you're going through West Point. You went on your Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saint mission to Russia. You come back. You get out of West Point. Or you graduate West Point as a second lieutenant. You've gone through field artillery training or are in training, and then all of a sudden 9/11 happens. What's going on through your head right then? Like, tell me about that.
We were at Officer Basic Course. We were there, and we were all hanging out by this coffee shop watching the TV as the second plane hit the Twin Towers. And at that moment, we realized, hey, this got real. We went from expecting a training military where we would be graded on our PT tests and how well we could write, papers and op orders and things like that to, hey, we're going to combat, man. And most of our instructors and the mentors that we had, teachers we had at West Point, they've never sniffed combat before in their life. So we were kind of a new generation going into combat, and it was amazing, and it was terrifying, and it was exciting.
What did you rely on to keep you together? What is that? What's that special thing that you did to maintain yourself, like from excitement, overwhelmness? Maybe I'm just going to hit all these things on the head for you, right? Because here you are in the military. You now have a special purpose, right, for the country. You're like being called up. It's like you're on deck. Like you just kept your composure, just your training kicked in, or mental toughness?
Not so much that. I don't think. It was just kind of feeling like you're playing sports and you're practicing and you're training all the time, but you never get to play in a game. And it felt like we're actually going to play in a game now.
Right.
And we were going to see what we were made of. And that was exciting. And I love the fact that there were so many other like-minded individuals around me, guys to my left and to my right, that felt the same way. And so I was going through pre-Ranger training at the time, and that was just something I thought would be cool and something to do. And that got to the point where it was like, okay, I definitely want to become a Ranger. Mm-hmm. I want to develop those skills and that mentality, that mindset, so that I can be successful when I really go into combat.
So that led you to go into the Rangers? Is that what I'm understanding? So you pre-Ranger, were you going through prep course for the Rangers, or can you tell me a little bit about that? How long after you got your artillery MOS taken care of training-wise did you go into the Rangers?
Well, every branch gives you an opportunity most branches give you an opportunity to go to Ranger school. And my good friend Andy Reese, we played football together at West Point.
Okay. What's up, Andy?
What's up, my brother?
What's up?
He was an artillery guy too.
Okay.
And we attended a pre-Ranger kind of motivational class.
Teaser?
Where there was like a Ranger in there, and he's like, hey, he was an artillery guy as well. He's like, hey, you guys should consider becoming Rangers. This is why it's important and whatever. And I attended the class, and I was like, okay, that's interesting. Do I want to do that? I don't know. And this was pre 9/11. Mm-hmm. And Andy was like, dude, that was amazing. I'm going to go do that. And I was like, you're seriously going to do that? He's like, yeah, man, I'm doing it. And I thought, well, shit, man, if Andy's going to do it, then I'm going to go do it too.
Yeah, right.
And the way that they structured it was, unfortunately, a lot of artillery guys were failing Ranger school. And so the Ranger school and pre-Ranger school instructors at the artillery course were like, we're going to make this the most difficult pre-Ranger course you can ever imagine, so we can weed out those guys.
Like this one that you're going to.
Send the best. And so
let's just crank it up on this session for Jason.
Bro, 4 a.m. in the morning the next day.
Bro.
I show up at this field with 50 other guys.
Right.
And everybody was there except for Andy Reese.
Probably like orange lights, I'd imagine. There's like orange lights at this place.
No, it's dark, man. It's dark. Just the moon. That's all you had.
Dark 30.
And so we trained for like 2.5 hours, just running, doing all these things. But like I said, no Andy Reese.
Where's he at?
And so I go finish this training, absolutely smoked, man. I'm like, okay, great. I've got another 5 months of this training, like every single day. Mm-hmm. And so I knock on Andy's door at the barracks, and I'm like, dude, where were you? He's like, dude, 4 a.m. came really fast, man. I'm not going to do it. And I'm like, dude, I already went for the first day. I'm not going to quit. And so I went by myself. I mean, there were other guys there, but I was supposed to go with Andy. So I went the remaining 5 months. At the end of it, there were only 12 guys remaining of the 50.
Wow.
And of those 12 guys, I think 10 went to Ranger school, and then 3 of us graduated.
Okay.
So that's kind of my Ranger school experience.
So does that Ranger give you did you get tabbed, or is that a scroll? There's a difference, right? There's a Ranger tab and then there's a Ranger scroll. Scroll's for regiment, right?
Yeah, pretty close. So the Ranger tab is what you get when you graduate from the course.
Right. All Rangers get that.
Right. Okay. And then a scroll essentially is if you are attached, if you're a part of a particular regiment and that sort of thing.
Like the 2nd or 3rd of the 75th.
75th, right. Exactly,
okay.
Yeah.
And then they would get the scroll that has that on there.
That's right.
Okay. So they'd be attached to that unit or that.
They'd be a part of that unit.
Right.
Yeah.
So, okay. So we've gone through Ranger. You've gotten ripped up there. Okay. You're running around.
I lost 28 pounds, but when I, looked in the mirror after my last day, I was like thinking I would be ripped, but man, that baby fat, that belly fat was still there, but I still lost 28 pounds.
Yeah, it's like, why did that go? This right here.
How am I still fat? I lost 28 pounds.
Where's the 6-pack? It's like, where's that at? Where's that at? So what drove you to go, obviously, other than service to the nation, like to become a SF, Special Forces?
It's a very similar story, man.
Someone's like, come with me. Show up at 4.
Honestly, it's a very similar story. My another good friend of mine, Jesse Waters.
Okay, Jesse. What's up, Jesse?
What's up, bro? What's up, man? So he was an engineer, and he wanted to go SF. He wanted to be a Green Beret. He really, really, really wanted to do it.
Sure.
And he was telling me all about it. He's getting me fired up. And I was like, dude, those guys are crazy, man. Like, I don't think I could ever do that.
Like they eat snakes.
I don't think I could be that guy, you know? And so we submitted our packets and we both got selected. And then Jesse actually, we were out one night and he was out way too late, got arrested. And then so he got his packet removed.
Sure.
And so this was just before we were going to go to Fort Bragg to go through our selection program, first phase of Special Forces.
To go through it, yeah, the first phase selections.
And so it's kind of the same thing. I'm on this bus going to Camp McCall at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, by myself, no Jesse, with all these other guys. I have no idea who they are, thinking to myself, what the hell am I doing here? And then I went through the selection program. For us, it was about a month at the time. Amazing. I loved every second of it. My favorite course of all time. It was awesome.
Well, and you're a friendly guy. So I would imagine that even though Jesse and Andy, right, who was supposed to be the first with the Rangers.
I'm still very close with both those guys,
sure.
My best friends.
But forging something with these new guys that you've gone through with, you know, you're very charismatic kind of guy. Like I like you. You're a good dude.
Not as charismatic as Radl over here.
As Radl. You say it like you know me. I love it. And so SF comes along in your life.
Yeah.
And you're what rank at that point?
Captain.
Captain. So you've gone from second lieutenant, first lieutenant in the Rangers, right?
Well, I didn't serve in the Ranger Regiment.
Mm-hmm.
I was with 101st Airborne Division in Iraq for the initial invasion. And then right after that, there was a little period of time kind of getting my packet together, doing some things, and then I went SF.
What's crazy is my dad, being a former Green Beret, his uncles are 101st Airborne. And I didn't know that because he was adopted. And my mom's just filling me in on my lineage of, you know, where I come from. Just last night even, I was just talking to her. And she's like, you know, 101st Airborne is what she was letting me know about my dad's lineage. And so he's a Green Beret. They're 101st Airborne. And she's like, you know, the blood. That's all. We're just talking, Mom. And then you say 101st. And I'm just like, it just hits me. You know, that's like, it's a small world there. But so 101st Airborne, and that's really made famous in the Spielberg, Tom Hanks Band of Brothers.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
On HBO, right? So give Tom Hanks a shout out here. What's up, Tom? And then so that's a lieutenant, and now captain.
Yep.
On the teams with the right.
So captain. So I went to the 101st Airborne Division. We went to Iraq for the initial invasion. Got back, went through selection. Then I went through the Q course, which is, you know, essentially 6 phases that you go through, and that takes about 2 years or so. And then once I finished up with that, I got assigned to 10 Special Forces Group at Fort Carson, Colorado. Went back to the Middle East 2 more times as a detachment commander. And that's
So that's the progress of your career right there for the United States Special Forces. Right, and now you're out, and now you're an entrepreneur, father.
Yes.
Family man, right?
Family man for sure.
Right. And, you know, you're just all around helping people. And I just want to like expose that and talk about how you make people feel good about themselves and how you bring people into your world that based off of trust and handshakes. And, you know, you expect the best from them and you give them the best of you. That's my take of you. Like, you give me your all, I give you my all. And I think that's awesome. So I'm just going to like.
Well, I'll just say thanks, Rad. That means a lot to me.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. We've known each other for a few years, and that's pretty cool for you to say that. Thank you.
I can see it, you know, and I appreciate you allowing me to be a part of, you know, Warrior Rising and Mission 6-0 and working with those other entrepreneurs that need some motivation in only the way that really you can do it. I mean, your organization has put impressions on people's lives for the rest of their lives. You know, the after action reports of the training up at the Snowmobile Lodge.
Oh yeah.
You know, those people are millionaire payrolls. You know, their checks are huge, and here they are, like maybe weeping a little bit, and realizing just the significance of what they need to do in their business or how they need to, you know, just stay focused at all times, because you don't want to be lost traveling as an entrepreneur for your business in some far off distant jungle and just get snatched. What are you going to do?
That's right.
How do you react to that? Because they're going to pull you off 40 feet into the jungle and you're going to be in a whole other world. And so the things that you bring and the cast and the crew that come in and help run those missions are just also so knowledgeable. I mean, Jeff, right? Or Patch Adams.
Yeah.
Right. I saw him in Vegas. He comes up to me at this White Castle. I'm eating White Castle. Ajax is in there, and we're sitting there, and I'm just like, okay, what are we going to do? What's the next thing we're going to do for SHOT Show, etc. All of a sudden, this dude comes up to me, grabs from behind. He's like, what's going on, dude? And I was like, Jeff, in the middle of the Vegas Strip here in my life?
That does not surprise me.
And his wife, and then he's just like, what's up, bro? I'll never forget you. And I was like, well, I'll never forget you. So that's because of you. You bring these people together. So I think that's what's awesome. You can bring a great ensemble together to perform, and we want to work and perform for you when that happens.
Thank you.
I hope that makes some sense.
It did. You and your guys did an amazing job at that event, and
right.
I'm eternally grateful for you guys for that. That's awesome.
And I'm happy that you're able to come on my show here, which is Rad Fired Up. And if you're just joining this show right now, I'm sitting down with Jason Van Kamp, former West Point football player, former United States Special Forces, entrepreneur, veteranpreneur. Veterpreneur.
Yeah.
That's how we say it. And also, I've been a part of something that's really cool, the Shark Tank. Is that something that's can you explain a little bit about what you like, the business model of bringing people in that are veterans and helping them transition from their military life to their own selves as entrepreneurs?
Oh, absolutely. So we're talking about the purpose of Warrior Rising.
Warrior Rising.
This nonprofit organization. So bear with me just a little bit. I'm going to kind of tell the story, the history of Warrior Rising. So, obviously if you have any questions, interrupt me, man, but we're working with the Oakland Raiders in 2014, and that was a part of my for-profit company, Mission 60. Mm-hmm. And we're providing the leadership training, kind of situational awareness training. It was really a very cool event, and we had a really good time, and we provided amazing value to the Oakland Raiders. And after the event was over, I was talking to some of my guys, bring out instructors that are wounded warriors. A lot of times the guys that want to be back on a team, they want to make some money, mm-hmm. and they have an amazing, message about overcoming adversity and resiliency. And it's cathartic for them to tell the story, and it's powerful for the client to hear the story. And it's just awesome. And we were all hanging out after the event, talking, about to go get some food and everything. And, mm-hmm. And I was an officer, obviously, and so it's kind of been ingrained in me to make sure my guys are taken care of.
Sure, feed them first.
Exactly.
Right.
Officers eat last.
I get you.
And so I was just asking the guys, how are things? What's up? And they were telling me, Jay, there's, we get a large disability check from the government. I was like, awesome. They're like, there's all sorts of charities that take us hunting and fishing, and one charity actually just built a home, $400,000 home for Mike over there. I'm like, man, that sounds awesome. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking to myself, okay, these guys are being taken care of. And they said, Jay, it's not that awesome, man. I was like, well, it sounds pretty good. What's the deal? And they said, you know what, man, we joined the military for a reason. We're disciplined, we're hardworking, we're patriotic, we want to serve other people, we want to serve our country. Now everybody serves me, man. That's awkward. Doesn't feel good. I don't like it. Mm-hmm. I said, okay, well, tell me more. And they were telling me, you know what, these charities, we go hunting and fishing. We have a great time when we go out there, but then when we come back home, life still sucks, man. Nothing's really changed for me. As a matter of fact, oftentimes it's worse for me because I realize how good life could be, and it's not that way all the time. I said, okay. And the other guy, Mike, he's like, I just got this new home built for me. It's handicap accessible. I can get my wheelchair in and out. I was like, well, that's okay. And they're like, well, you know what? It's not, man, because I didn't earn this.
He wants to help. He wants to give himself more to somebody.
They had no skin in the game.
Right.
He's like, I didn't have anything to do with this house, man. It was given to me. I sit at home and I resent every piece of wood in this home because I had nothing to do with it. And I want to have something.
Why do I need it when there's someone else who's probably worse than me that could use it? That's the thought I think he's.
And just the mentality that's been ingrained in us is you earn what you work for, in the military. And these guys didn't earn it. They were just given it. And so I said, okay, guys, well, what do you want me to do? And they said, well, help us find our purpose again, man. And I said, okay, well, again, how do I do that? What do you want me to do about that?
Right. Saturday's Warrior.
And they, and they said, well, Jay, answer me this. How did you find your purpose when you left the military? I was like, wow, I never really thought about it like that before. Let me think. And I was thinking really hard. And I thought, when when I left the military, I started Mission 60. I brought all of the guys on my team that I've ever worked with or for that I thought were just the most amazing leaders I've ever met in my life. Green Berets, Navy SEALs, Delta Force guys, doesn't matter. I brought them to this team and I said, if we could somehow harness this energy, this leadership, everything we have, and provide that to a client, that could be something incredibly valuable. So I did that. And I thought about it and I said, you know what? Starting my business, guys, is what gave me purpose again. It's very difficult. Whether or not it succeeds or fails is completely on my shoulders.
That's right.
I get to be creative.
That's right.
I get to hire you guys. I get to make some money. I get to serve the country again by providing value to the economy.
To you guys, yeah. I mean, like helping out.
And the guys said, we want to do that too. And I said, what do you mean? They said, we want to start businesses too, man. I think that'll help us find our purpose again. I said, all right, start your business. And they started telling me their ideas. All of them had ideas.
Right.
And most of the ideas were awful. I mean, the worst. Terrible, terrible ideas.
I'll make license plates.
And I was like, guys, please don't do that. And they were like, well, why? And I was like, well, X, Y, and Z. And they're like, oh, thanks. I'm thinking to myself.
The advice.
I'm thinking to myself, man, like, I just helped this guy out tremendously because he's a Navy SEAL and he would have spent years of his life determined to make this business work. He would have spent his life savings dumping in, trying to bootstrap this thing.
For what? Yeah, exactly. For it to maybe not.
And I thought to myself, well, that's a good thing that I did. I told him, don't do this. And he listened. And several of them listened to me. And some of the other guys had really good ideas. And I said, you know what? You should do that, man. Go ahead and do that. And they said, all right, Jason, I'm glad you like it because here's the deal. I need $30,000 and I need this and I need that. And I'm like, well, hold on a second. Like, I'm not giving you any money.
You invest, right?
And they're like, well, why not? And I'm like, bro, like you need to show me your business plan and your pro forma and your SWOT analysis and your operating agreement and things like that. And they're like, dude, what? Like, what are you talking about?
SWOT analysis. I haven't heard that for a minute, but I know SWOT analysis. Keep going.
And so these guys, they're like, well, give me your stuff and I'll just copy it. And it's like, it doesn't work like that. And we just kind of ended the conversation. I was like, good luck, watch some YouTube videos or whatever. And I went back home and I thought about it a lot. And I thought, man, I could have really helped these guys out. I could do more. And that's when I started Warrior Rising. I got together with Joe Hilton, the gentleman that I mentioned earlier, and Ryan Miller. And we created this thing to help veterans find their purpose again through starting or accelerating a business. Right.
And that's where it's at today, right?
Oh yeah. That's where we're at.
And do you have is it Dyson, who was a Green Beret with the Java Can?
Yeah, so Dyson is one of our first Veterpreneurs that we've helped.
Right.
His business is called the Java Can.
The Java Can.
And he came out to our Shark Tank event in Utah, which is going to be an annual thing. And he got a $50,000 investment from one of our sharks.
It was awesome to see that happen. I mean, the whole theatrics of the whole process, from you hosting it, to the interaction with, does this guy have what it takes to pitch this product? You push a button and it gives instant feedback right there to like yes or no. Like, are you interested in this product? Are you interested in what he's talking about? He had a story, right? Climbing up a mountain, wanting a cup of coffee with his interpreter. He created a way to carry his Java Can, and now he's brought that back. So it's kind of like tactical to practical, for those avid hikers and things like that out there. And so I'm going to pitch the Java Can because he is a part of the Warrior Rising family network of success. You have helped him, right? He's still in. And when he transitions out in 2 or 3 years, he will be able to rely on his business to keep him going mentally, right? Physically, I'm sure he's going to run and do all those things that he should get doing. But it's that I got to keep doing something. I need to be doing something. I should be doing something. Well, here's your business.
That's absolutely correct. And he's still in. He's going to do a great job, continue serving in the military. And then when he gets out, this business will be waiting for him. And then it's not just this business, but it can springboard and transition into several other businesses. And it provides him a chance to network with other people that could introduce him to other business ideas as well.
Exactly. And you bring together, again, the ensemble. It's like, hey, the investors, right, that were the sharks that were sitting up front there, they all care. It seemed like they all wanted the businesses to succeed. And the questions that they asked of these veterans was like, or the business owners is, the SWOT. They wanted to know, how many of you sold in the last year? What's your anticipated revenue for the next year? Why? Why you? And those questions, I sat back as a business owner listening to as well, like, why me if I were to pitch myself? Why me? What kind of investment would I be looking for in something like that? You know, it was a really good learning experience from my point of view. So I think that was a kick-ass time.
I'm glad you liked it, man. I had a blast too.
Best snowstorm I drove through to get to an event. Okay.
And don't forget the fire alarm as well.
I didn't want to bring that up. I wasn't even bringing that. No, man. Yeah. It was just hot in there. That's what's up. It was fire. We're fired up with Rad today. That's what's going on. And that fire alarm goes off when I walk in a building.
I love it. I love it.
Now, Warrior Rising, is that .com, .org? How do we find Warrior Rising?
So warriorrising.org is the website, you know, and how it works is you go to the website and you apply. It's completely free. And then you get a chance to go through our online training platform, which is 37 videos. It's 5 modules, and it translates the military operations order into a business plan. So it helps you understand from a military perspective what people are asking for. Mm-hmm. And once you complete that, we set you up with a one-on-one mentor. And so you and that mentor together will create a go-to-market strategy. And if you don't like that mentor, we'll find another one for you. But the mentor is someone who's been successful in whatever industry you're trying to start a business in.
Sure.
It doesn't matter to us, 10 years, 10 minutes, however long it takes you to create a go-to-market strategy is however long it takes you. But once you do, you come back to our board of directors and you get financial assistance. And we'll give you a grant, a loan, or an investment. And sometimes it's only $2,000, $5,000, and the most we've ever given is $84,000.
Sure.
And so once you do that, in the past, we've kind of given guys a high five and say, good luck. We're proud of you, man. And now we realized that veterans really want 2 things, not only purpose, but also a community, a tribe.
Right.
And so we're creating this Warrior Rising tribe. And so once you go through our program, you're part of our organization. We'll continue to help you. You'll continue to help us. You'll refer people to us. We'll have these monthly luncheons all over the country with what we're calling platoons, basically communities.
That's cool.
Free monthly luncheons. And you get a chance to network and meet investors. And we're also doing big events, you know, kind of market Warrior Rising and sponsor a veteran, get one of our high net worth donors to sponsor a veteran to go climb Mount Kilimanjaro next year.
Which you just came back from.
Which I just came back from. It was amazing. It was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be.
So I want to ask you this. Okay. So here you are prepping to go to Mount Kilimanjaro in Africa.
Okay.
Right. And you're like, okay, I need kit. Okay, I got to take this. I got to take this. I got to take this. So out of all of this that you had to take, what was the thing you carried that you never used, or you thought, why did I take this all the way up here? Because space is limited on you, right? Weight, you know, like what was it? Was there something that you just carried that you're like, why did I bring this? And the second question, what would you have replaced that piece with that you wish you would have had?
That's a great question. That's a really good question. So I'll say this. The most important thing I brought was Advil.
Oh, for like headaches.
And not just for my own headaches, but for everybody else, man. I had a whole bottle and everybody bumped Advil off of me, man.
What do you want for it?
I was like the 18 Delta. I was like the medic on the team.
Exactly.
Crazy. And I also carried Kyle Daniels' Firebrand flag, which is the first U.S. fireproof flag. And that's one of the Veterpreneurs that we're supporting.
That's awesome.
At Warrior Rising. So I brought that flag, carried it, didn't use it for anything other than when I got to the top of Mount Kilimanjaro, I unfurled it and I held it and took some pictures with it and everything. And
sure.
I was very proud of that. So I wouldn't replace that, obviously.
Of course. So that was space reserved for that.
But I guess probably some snacks. I probably brought a few too many snacks and I wasn't feeling super great on summit day. So I didn't eat a whole lot.
Sure.
You know, so I probably replaced those snacks
with something else that would have been more for your mission specific for climbing.
Maybe some more water, I guess.
What would you did you have did you need crampons for your boots? I mean, was there snow at the top? I mean, what is up?
I brought crampons. I didn't put them in my pack, but I brought them because sometimes it is snowing and it's icy up at the top.
Right.
But the time of year that we went, there wasn't any snow, so we didn't need them.
So you just dealt with higher altitude, sunburn, windburn. What were the things? Did you have any heat casualties? Anything like that climbing?
No heat casualties. Everybody made it up except for one guy, my roommate, and he just got altitude sickness.
Well, that's something that's real. It's very real.
I mean, that really is what prevents you from getting to the top. When I showed up, there was an SF Special Forces colonel there who's my former boss, man, Fred. And I was surprised to see him there.
Sure.
And I'm like, hey,
small
Fred,
world.
what are you, he's like, I'm doing the climb with you guys. And I was like, oh, that's awesome, man. And he's like super fit, ultra marathon runner. The guy's like unbelievable physically. And he's like, yeah, I came out here 2 years ago. I tried to climb Kili, couldn't make it. And now I'm back to do it this year. And I'm like, oh my God, if Fred couldn't make it 2 years ago, like I need to reassess my physical fitness level right now. So it was a lot harder than I thought it was, but we all got up, including Fred this year.
That's awesome and outstanding. And can we see any pictures or like any photos of that anywhere? Is it on Facebook or? There's
a couple on Instagram, I believe. I think there's maybe one or two on Facebook. I'm not the biggest social media guy. That's not my thing. But Haloti Ngata he came with us. He was a defensive tackle, played for the Ravens for a long time. Most recently, the Philadelphia Eagles, where he won a Super Bowl. He came with us. And when he got to the top, he was the last guy to get to the top. He retired from the NFL. So he had a big flag, and he said, I'm retiring from the NFL on top.
Mount Kilimanjaro.
And he had a really cool thing. And I was standing there right next to him as he did this, and he posted that picture on Instagram and officially retired. It became national news. It was all over all the
NFL player retires on top of Mount Kilimanjaro.
It's pretty cool.
With Jason Van Kamp and Fred.
No Jason, no Fred.
Oh, no.
I think they might have mentioned Chris Long, but that's about it.
Well, you're definitely never stopping, huh? That's what you're just constantly moving forward, doing something.
You know what I believe in? Somebody asked me, what are you all about, man? I do epic things. That's who I am. That's what I do, man. I do epic things. That's what fires me up. Fired up with Rad.
You can call me Radl, bro, anytime, okay? Anytime. Fired up with Rad.
Well, the reason I'm calling you Radl so much is because until like 2 months ago, I was calling you Radl this whole time.
Well, that's where you get the name Rad.
So doing epic things is what I'm all about. And then also putting myself in uncomfortable situations. So growing comfortable, being uncomfortable, voluntarily
being uncomfortable.
Putting yourself in discomfort, uncomfortable situations.
So the next time you're in that situation, you're not discomfort. You can be like, I can handle this. If you're zip tied, the first time you're like freaking out. But if you're taught how to maybe break the zip ties the second time, you're out.
It's about facing and overcoming fear, and being adaptable. And like, what Jeff said previously is being creative, and that all comes from taking the risk, taking the jump to put yourself in a position where you're uncomfortable. And that's what it's all about. Sure.
Like jumping out of a perfectly good airplane.
Yeah. His first jump malfunction, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, right. We were talking with Jeff Kirkham on a previous episode, and he was talking about how his chute had his bag didn't deploy and he had to go to his reserve. And do you have anything like that? Do you have a scary jump out of the airplane?
Just one. And my team, when I first got to my special forces team, they sent me to go test experimental parachutes in Eloy, Arizona.
So I'll do that one, right?
And so the guys on my team were, too excited about it, but we went anyway. And we're testing ASREPs, Advanced Static Ramified Air Parachute Systems.
Are they more like a square round, like a rounder square chute?
They were more of a square, if I remember correctly.
I think I know.
And so we were doing HAHO, so high altitude, high opening. So we'd go up to close to 14,000, I guess, if I remember correctly. And then we jump. And the first time we jumped with equipment, you have a big rucksack in between your legs, and you have your rifle, tied to your.
How much does that ruck weigh? How much do you think that ruck weighs between your legs?
I think the ruck at the time was maybe 50 pounds.
Okay, and that's added onto your weight, right?
Added onto my weight, and then my rifle, and then you're wearing all your gear and all your stuff and everything.
And the chute itself, etc.
And the chute. So you kind of shuffle the back of the door, and I was always one of the heaviest guys. So I say, follow me, raise my hand, and we'd all jump. And this particular time, first time with equipment, and the parachute, the static lines got wrapped around the buttstock of my rifle.
Oh.
And the instructors were like, after the fact, they're like, I don't know how that could have ever happened, but it did. And so the parachute didn't deploy, but just a little bit. And I started spinning. It kind of made me into kind of like a top. And I started spinning faster and faster and faster and faster to the point where I was going to black out. And while this was happening, I'm like, oh man, you got to be kidding me. Like my chute didn't deploy. And I tried to grab the risers with my arms and try to push them out. It didn't work. I tried to move around, didn't work. I took out my knife. I'm like, I'm going to cut out these risers, because if I deployed my secondary chute, my reserve, I'd have 2 chutes basically open at the same time. I'd be completely out of control, and I'd, probably crash to my death. And so I'm just thinking to myself, like, what am I going to do? And I finally, really what was going through my mind, one thing was, I don't want to deploy my reserve because everyone's going to laugh at me. I'm a brand new captain to the team. I don't know why I even thought that, but that's what I thought. And I was finally able to extricate the risers from the buttstock of my weapon about maybe 3,000 feet above the ground, thank God. And it popped open. I spun around 1,000 times and I hit the ground. And that's my parachute malfunction story, man. That's the only time that ever happened to me.
Well, that is intense. Literally, I like to say that word, and I don't mean tense like we're setting up a Coleman tent. Although, Coleman, if you'd like to sponsor the show, let me know. But I'm glad that you lived through that so that I can meet you today and know you for the last few years that I've known you. And hey, Zach, my guy Zach, who's helping run this whole show here today, how much time have I been going?
You have been going about 37 minutes.
Okay, so I like to wrap it up with a little rapid fire on Fired Up with Rad. Okay. I got some questions here, okay?
All right, I'm ready. I'm going to close my eyes. I don't want to
here we go.
Give it away.
Last book that you read?
The Fountainhead by Ayn Rand.
Your favorite kind of music?
I would say 70s classic rock.
70s classic rock, like Styx?
I like Styx, yeah.
Okay.
Led Zeppelin.
Led Zeppelin, okay. Pink Floyd?
I like Pink Floyd, sure.
Okay. Favorite food?
My wife's, I call them Lizzie Diaz. And so it's kind of like a quesadilla that she makes, like really special. It's awesome.
I think I want one.
Yeah, dude, they're great, man.
And do you know why the mushroom always gets invited to the party?
Tell me.
Because he's the fun guy, bro.
I love it.
What is your favorite color?
I say dark purple.
Dark purple. And the last place that you vacationed?
The last place I vacationed was my honeymoon 3 years ago in Bora Bora.
Well, it's about time that you take another.
I know, man.
That's the whole point of that question.
I know.
It's like, when's the last time you took some mental health time? Climbing Mount Kilimanjaro is cool. Okay, you did that. That was like, but when's the last time you just had someone say, would you like a drink? Right? With your toes in the sand.
I don't know, man. I understand the need for that, but there's something also about working and doing something you love, too. There's a lot of pleasure in that.
Well, I agree with that. I can agree with that, too.
You tell me if you've got a place set up for vacation. As a matter of fact, I've got a private villa in the Dominican Republic that we're giving away for Warrior Rising. All we need is for people to sign up for the Harness app. And if you do that, it basically rounds up every dollar you spend and gives that to charity, gives that to Warrior Rising. We'll give that away. It's a $30,000, private chef included, the whole works, man. We're giving it away to somebody. We're going to raffle it off.
And you can go to warriorrising.org to find out about that, right?
Yeah, in the next couple of weeks, we're going to launch this campaign, and that'll be a great vacation spot. I can't go, obviously, but...
Perfect. Well, that was a great segue. And I just want to thank the guys at Hurricane Media for having me host this podcast, Fired Up with Rad. And I want to thank my special friend and guest, Jason Van Kamp, for being on the show. And I just want to say thanks to Zach. And if you have any questions, go ahead and post them down in the comments and smash that subscribe button.
Hell yeah. Thank you so much for having me on the show, man. I really appreciate it. It's been a tremendous honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason, and I appreciate it, bro. Thank
okay.
you. All right. Talk to you soon.
Yes, sir.
All right. Peace.